Hello there. Whoa, there's a cat by an open window. I was having a hard time, so when I have a hard time, I want to come and talk to you. Um, I don't really have a way to, because I was trying not to tell the thing I had done for you, but I kind of just have to because it's what's on my mind today. But I had gone into, hopefully you were there today. I was really hoping, I was like kicking myself that I didn't should I have called you and told you? I didn't want it to come from me, but I, um, I went into the Clay County Fair and hopefully Lisa called you and asked you to come in for Sunday because I was telling them, like, please, I was having a really hard time because my Alzheimer's mom was moving in and Deja really didn't want to flake out on you guys. And it was me, all me, not her. She was waiting all year for this. And could you please let her, I mean, she cried when she found out that she wasn't going to be allowed to do it. So could you please let her come in at least for a day? And Lisa said, "Oh, I can't really make that decision, but I'd be willing to have her if she. You have to ask Miss Char." And so I went and asked Miss Char, and Miss Char kind of hemmed and hawed, and I told her the same thing, and she's like, "Well, I can't really call anybody. We're over." And but she said, "Well, but you could call." And I said, "Oh, I could call." And she said, "Yeah, you could call." And but I didn't want it to come from me. I wanted it to come from them for you. I didn't want it to be weird for you. I wanted you to be able to go. So I went and asked Miss Lisa, and she said that she would definitely call you. She had your number, and I hope she did. Um, I was looking at Mom's Messenger to see when you had been on last, and you hadn't been on since like 2 o'clock. So I don't know if that means you did go or didn't go. I don't know if that tells me anything actually, but I was just really hoping you would have that niceness. Because it's like I can't really fix a lot of these things I've done, but at least I can partially fix that one for you. But then after like 5 o'clock or something, I just kept going to the window, looking out, having this little daydream about you, like driving straight here and wanting to come back home. So I having a hard time too because Molly is not doing good at all. She's barely eating. I'm having a hard time getting her to eat anything. She keeps wanting to go outside and she keeps going to the fence to look for, I think, the car coming in. And she doesn't pee or anything, but then she comes back in and she's sleeping a lot and not eating. I started her on her penicillamine today. Not sure if she likes the new food, but she's definitely depressed. I can't ever, I can't, if you decide not to be with me, which will crush me, I can't, I still can't give her to you. I can never abandon my children. So I really hope that you'll be the devoted, be easy with daddy pup, loyal pup, and give me one last chance because I'll never need another one. I was thinking, I could really use some grace here. I know I was bad. I know I was really bad. But it was like a blind spot for me and I didn't realize it. And, you know, I like objectively just have so much going on. You should have been the last person that I took it out on, but everything I'm doing with Mom and taking her in for Alzheimer's, going to Arizona, fighting to get into Mayo, fighting to get all the tests done. This is a super stressful time, It was like Armageddon was super stressful and I was mad at you. And then I drank way too much. And then this time was like I was super stressful and I was mad at you because I didn't feel like you were supporting me. And then I had way too much caffeine, and I just beg of you, my dear, if you're thinking about not coming back to me, please just give Daddy some grace on this one. This is a crazy time I'm going through, and I have totally made a switch over. You're my little loyal pup now. Hopefully you'll watch these and know where I'm coming from. I worry you're just gonna be like, it's not up for debate, and not even hear my words, and that would be the worst thing for me, for you not to know the pivot I've made, the insta switch, like you doing physical contact that I've made. So you don't even know who I am now, and you're leaving Daddy, and that would break my heart because I'm crazier about you than I've ever been. Or And I'm letting myself feel the things that I always feel but was too scared to. So scared that it pretty much meant that I lost you, because 7 years in, I was still sure that you were not into me, because messed up that's how messed up I was. So I can understand, like, our life has not been that great recently. It's been a lot of stress, a lot of work, no play. If you say that you don't want to, I'm going to really try to convince you just to stay here like a week or two, not only for Molly's sake, but also so that you can, you know, you don't even know the life that I'm telling you about it, if you're going to watch these, hopefully, but you don't even know what you're choosing between, because you don't know the life you're about to have. You don't know the changes I have set and how I'd like you to be a pup, and there's nothing really required of you, and there's no way for you really to get, how does a puppy get in trouble? Like, you're just adorable and fun to be around, and your energy, and sit there and look pretty and do whatever you want, whether that's something fun or goofy or playful, or self like I don't want to say not self-fulfilling, but like self-educating. If you wanted to go, oh, I want to be independent, I want to go do this, I want to go do that, I'm going to be supportive for everything you want to do. But it's just this whole week is just very tough. I told myself at the beginning, like, our love can survive a week. And part of it was just because you were in such a way, you were ready to just, you were blocking me on everything, and that would have devastated me. That's very tough. That one would be very, very tough for me to move on from, just not having the conversation and just being blocked, because I am wired to stay and devoted. And it's like, we were having problems for a while, but like one really bad argument, and my life is completely over. It's all changed. So I don't know what this conversation is really doing, but letting me express the fears I have right now and the sadness. I was working on the underwater room today and getting things set up. I got you I don't know what to tell you and not tell you, because I don't know when you're going to come out, but I got you a boxing stand for your punching bag, finally. One of those many things that I should have done before now. I'm looking forward to seeing the look on your face when you see it. Hope you're not still scared of me, PTSD. I keep saying it, but there was nothing in my mind ever occurred to me to, like, physically harm you or anything like that. I'm sorry if I spooked you that way by another, driveway scene, but I was just going out for my credit cards. And the reason I was going out for my credit cards, the thing with the credit cards and the house and the money and all that stuff, or not money, but the house and the cars and all that stuff, is that it wasn't about those things. It wasn't about the money. It was about, at the time, me being like, hey, appreciate what I do for you. I do a lot for you. Like, you have a lot of things you wouldn't have otherwise, and it seems like you're just not into me, because I could tell you were checking out. Now I realize you weren't into me because I was a horrible daddy for a while. I was not only not nurturing, not supportive. When you were really bad, I wasn't there for you. I couldn't flip that switch, because it just felt like you were never there for me when I needed you. But that was never the dynamic of the relationship, like, I would ask for empathy and compassion and stuff like that, but that wasn't really that. I mean, on text, you're much better, but in real life, that was just never that wasn't the vibe. The vibe was me taking care of you and me being, just lucky to have you and happy to have you. And I remember there's just all these things I keep replaying that you've said recently, like how, you're saying you're not okay and I didn't step up. And you're saying, like, I said something and you're like, you're not there for me, and I hadn't been there for you. I was having a hard time being there for you, because in my head you were my peer, I wasn't thinking of it as Daddy Little anymore. I was thinking of it as like Deja and Danny, and Danny had his Alzheimer's mom move in and didn't feel supported. In reality, I know you did a lot for Mom. I feel like I was just really nitpicky, at the time because I was so stressed out, and it was like I can't flinch, and mom isn't up my butt to try to help me with something to an excess, obviously. So, like I said, I kind of figured that out where when my significant others aren't like that, I feel like they don't love me because they're not putting me first the way mom does and the way I do them, at least at first. And that's a mistake because not many people are like me and mom that way. So, figuring that out was like, duh. That's when I start pushing people away, and then I start pushing people away by being freaking, um, like underhanded comments and stuff like that. And I've done it for a long time. Uh, it just really hurts me that I tore you down so much. I think about things I say now and they're like cringeworthy, like saying, "Oh, you need to be pretty on the inside," and you know, I can't even remember the little jabs I would throw, but just the exact kind of person I would be protecting you from as a daddy. And that just breaks my heart, and it really scares me because that you still were so lovey and devoted and just great. I mean, recently, not so much, but I mean, you can only take so much. Um, but it's just like, I worry that's what you think you'd be returning to, and you'll make the decision based off of that. And that's not, you know, if you think about like actions speak, if you think about Armageddon, I said I was going to make changes and I made changes. I didn't drink for like 3 years or something like that. And when I did, it was because it was bothering me and kind of like I felt controlled, which goes to that other issue too, I think. But um, I wish there was sunlight. I would win you back right away, wouldn't I? Well, not with that face. Um, but anyways, yeah, like with Armageddon, I made some serious changes, and it made the relationship much better until I started to fall into old patterns of pushing away. So if you look at that, you know, hopefully you can see that I'm not just somebody who says, yeah, I'm a very honest person. If I'm saying all this, I mean it. These are all when this all went down, the first thing I was telling you was like, hey, I need to decide if I want us to be together, because in my head it was still Danny Deja, and I wasn't being supported, and was always thinking about like partners in crime and somebody for the foxhole with me, next to me, you and me against the world kind of vibe. And that's just not what it is. It's like daddy taking care of you, like daddy's got you, like daddy's got your back, daddy's your rock, you know what I mean? um, the same way I do need like buddies who want to who want to like help me carry big things, like moving buddies. I need to, like, that kind of support structure to come from some friend or another, or or multiple or whatever. It'd be nice to have friends. Um, but I don't need that from you. I just need you in my life. I don't need anything than what you are. Like, the thing I miss the most is the chunk tackles. You know what I mean? Like, when I kept looking out the window after today, after I thought the fair had ended, and it was just like this. I kept playing these little scenes in my mind. Like, I would play the scene where you you would knock on the door, and I would like open it, and not knowing who it was, and then I would see it was you, and I would just like melt, and like my lip would go because I was so sad, and you would be looking at me like sad too, and I would lift up my shirt to show you the chunk, and he would chunk tackle me, and it was just like everything was back how it should be. You know, it's very hard for me to think that this can be the end. And I know it's not just about that argument. You know what I mean? No part of me is like, oh, that's not like in my head, it's not like I'm like, oh, that's not enough to break us up. That was like one argument. That's not devoted. I'm not thinking that because I know it's about the flavor of our relationship for a while, and how, you know, I've been treating you for a while. We've really been treating each other poorly, but I'm the one who had it going and had it going and had it going, and you finally started doing the same thing back. That's still on me, in my opinion. Um, you know, it's just such a shift. When I go into daddy and I think of you as little, it's like the entire storyline of our relationship has changed. When I'm not in Daddy and it's just Danny Deja, it's a completely different vibe because I look at you like, hey, come on, help out your partner. Hey, do this. But that's not our dynamic. And not only that, but that's not what I want our dynamic to be. I'm tired of like railing against things that you don't do, or I just unconditional love part is very liberating because like I love you no matter what. Sit there, do what you're gonna do. I was thinking about how you could come to me and say, and obviously this is also very much a red line, but you could be like, Daddy, I do want to get back together, but I need you to know that I kissed somebody during this week. And like instantly I was like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about that. Just let's get back together and don't kiss anybody again. You know what I mean? Like that's a big deal for me. That's a super big deal for me to be like, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? I wish you wouldn't have, but I don't care. You're with me now. We're together. We're good. Okay, that's all I care about. Like, that's just another, like, finger pointing at the fact that, like, just how deeply I love you and how much I want you back. Um, Going a week is just very hard. I wonder if it's hard for you. I always do these things where I think like, oh, maybe it was hard at first and then it got easier. And then she's like, yeah, I don't want to go back to that bullshit. It's harder there. I got to do this and do that. And, 25-year-old caretaker and all that kind of stuff. And, just really, you have friends in your ears who are telling you don't go back to an abusive person and stuff like that. And it's just like, I always like do the worst case scenario in my head. I mean, I know you know me and I know that I'm a good person and a three-dimensional person and who can obviously make mistakes, but I'm very good at correcting my mistakes. You saw it with Armageddon and you're seeing it now. Like this is just, I'm trying to do everything I can to make your life as happy as it can be going forward. Just like point blank, I have neglected your happiness for so long and not made your happiness a priority because I felt unsupported and I felt used by making you happy, that I pretty much ignored my pup now, and that breaks my heart. It's like years I have to make up for here, and I'm just like, okay, challenge accepted. Like I'm going to be doing a whole crap load of stuff. Like I just have active lists of things that I want to do, like things that were frustrating for you or me or us, and that's just like, okay, that's gone now. Um, I have it all written down. I have it all on audio too, but there's just like thing after thing after thing. Like there's not gonna be any whiteboards. There's not gonna be anything you have to do every day. We don't need to be running a business together. All that inventory is yours now. Like just whatever you makes you happy to do. You can spend your days however you want. You know what I mean? I'm gonna watch your water and I'm gonna watch your food, but for the most part, you can just do whatever you want. If I need help lifting something or whatever, I might ask little girl, but it isn't, it's not going to be this, hey sweetie could you, hey sweetie could you, hey sweetie could you anymore. It's going to be a completely different life, and that's what I worry about, is that you're not going to know what you're choosing between, because I finally got there and I finally got it, and I just adore you. I Once I let myself feel the unconditional love for you, it's really hard going a week, just doing everything I can to keep my word, especially with Molly not doing well, because I'm having a hard time getting her to eat and she's missing you. She goes to the door, she goes to the fence. It's just really heartbreaking. So I believe that I can, show you the changes I've made and how much I just absolutely am lovey-dovey towards you now. It breaks my heart when I think about you talking about just wanting some compassion and me always having to be like, oh, I have to be in daddy mode for that. I don't know if I do or don't for that, but get your ass in daddy mode then. I mean, you went for ages. This super sweetheart that just wants to, it just wants to hug on me and be around me, and I was just completely rejecting you over and over and over again because of my own issues. Feeling like you didn't love me. Even when you were wanting to do these things to me, it felt like you didn't love me because you wouldn't do my acts of services or whatever. It was, with daddy back now, these things are heartbreaking to think of. And if we end up not getting back together, they're going to be heartbreaking for a long, long time. It's because it'll feel like I didn't get to right a wrong which is why the fair was very nice for me, because then I felt like I at least partially righted her wrong. But I really hope that she called you and let you know. And I hope you had a great time at the fair. I love you very much. I love you very, very much.